What are cease and desist orders? Well, these are just like temporary restraining orders telling people that they can't destroy heritage. And this is supposed to be one of the provisions in the heritage law that give it teeth. What does the law say? If you look at the law, there's a section there that says that cultural agencies can issue cease and desist orders. If you look at the definition of cultural agencies, there is an enumeration of what the cultural agencies are. And in that enumeration, the NCCA is not found there. Why am I telling you this? Because I believe that sunlight is the best disinfectant. The more we know what we're up against, the better. Because I tell you, any lawyer who just passed the bar, who reads the law, will argue this. If the power is not given to the agency, then it has no business doing so. That's an argument that property developers will certainly use. Well, of course, since most of us are heritage advocates, we can always say that the law will be interpreted in such a way that its provisions will be given meaning. So if, let's say, the NCCA has the power to decide whether something is important cultural property because it's designed by a national artist, but is not given the powers to stop people from destroying a building destroyed by a national artist, then it effectively has no power at all. It becomes a toothless tiger. But again, this is a gray area. And well, it would be interesting if something gets brought before the Supreme Court and is decided with finality. It might sound bad, but you know, the clearer, for me, the clearer, the better. And sometimes, when we're in litigation, it just helps to buy time. So a cease and desist order from the NCCA might solve things in the short term, but the better way to do it might be to really just get a declaration from the NHCP or the NM based on other reasons for significance of the property. Okay. So next, and this one, this is not as controversial, but I also don't really know the answers to this because again, it hasn't been brought to the Supreme Court. As part of my job at the NCCA, we go around different provinces, different municipalities. And we're always asked, how do we know they're not going to file cases in the ombudsman against us? Because, you know, cultural heritage, we're going to benefit private property. For example, there's a cultural treasure, a church in Jimenez, Misamis Oriental. The local government wanted to spend money to help preserve the church. So they said, is that allowed? And I told them, if the national agency is allowed to spend money for preserving a national cultural treasure and the heritage law says that it is a priority, then there's no reason why the LGU cannot. But that's, for me, it's very clear when it's declared property under the heritage law. The gray area is what if it's not declared national cultural treasure, important cultural property, or historical landmark. Again, I always say, well, read the Manosca case, and at the very least, that's going to give you good faith basis for saying that you're spending public money for a public purpose. And then for LGUs, it's not listed in the heritage law that local governments can make their own declarations of locally significant buildings and sites. But the local government code, specifically the General Welfare Clause, says that LGUs have the duty to preserve cultural heritage. So it can, and it would be better if, before spending any public money, the reasons for doing so are clear. So it might help if there is a local ordinance identifying or that provides a way for identifying local heritage. Those are the things that I'm asked. Those are the frequently asked questions. So if you have any questions, you let me know because I'll include it in my tally, and maybe next time I'm asked to speak on FAQs, that will be included. In conclusion, this one, I saw a slide about social transformation because I think that that's precisely what we're doing here. Cultural heritage is not really a byword in the vocabulary of a majority of the Filipinos. And we're here to change that. When I was 15 in the 1980s, I wanted to study the history and structure of a church in my town. There was very little literature, and the only resource persons I could find in Cebu was a teacher of fine arts and a priest who was an enthusiast of cultural heritage. That has changed now. I mean, I see a hall full of people who are interested in cultural heritage. There's more information. There's more awareness, and maybe in the job of evangelization and convincing people that cultural heritage is important, we've really done a lot since 1989, 1990. So what are the elements of social transformation? I just copied this from someone who spoke on the Convention on the Elimination of Discrimination Against Women, and I think the principles are just as applicable here. We need laws and policies. Yes, we have that, and I'll be the first to say that those things still need work, and certainly there's a lot that LGUs can do with regards making ordinances and putting the principles found in the heritage law and even the Constitution come alive. Do we have the enabling conditions? So for that, we need the openness of communities, awareness, programs, and dissemination. If I were to rate where we are with regards this criteria, we're probably optimistically 20%, but if I'm being pessimistic, 5%. But something's happening. And then the change agents. We need champions for cultural heritage. And I think most, if not everyone here, is a champion for cultural heritage. I mean, it takes a lot of dedication to sit here and listen and learn about cultural heritage on a Saturday morning. And I'm very grateful for that. So thank you very much, and I hope we have a very fruitful day learning about downtowns. Thank you.